Howdy, Donnie Walker here, part 2 of the 090. Time to strip it down. Hi, Tom Phillips. Okay, so I didn't power wash it or anything, but it wouldn't have been hard to do today. It's been raining so hard out there. You know, I talked about all summer of the wildfires here, and all the good guys were out there fighting the wildfires and taking care of our province here and our country. And the guys in the U.S. as well. They all had bad stuff going on this year. So just a shout out to all you guys for this summer, and all the community people that helped out their fellow neighbors and everything to get through it all. So now it's over. Now we're going to be into some flooding. Hopefully not, though. Let's hope we get a few showers here, good again for a few days, and some more. We don't need it all in 1 month, Mother Nature. We need it, consistently, but not too much, right? Anyways, so here I am with the 090 Stihl, and I'm going to rip it apart. I fixed lots of them in the past, like I've told you, just little general things, but I've never really taken one completely apart to rebuild. So this is interesting to me, and here we go. So, okay, air filter. It has a flock air filter system. This thing's in perfect shape. It's not wore out. It's dirty, but that'll be cleaned. Off that goes into the box. Top cover, perfect shape. Was sold at Cowichan Timber and Turf Equipment Limited in Duncan, BC. 746-6531. If you called that number, they're probably not in business anymore. This thing was probably from the 70s, maybe. Not sure. Okay. That off. Side cover, clutch cover. Has the big felling spikes on it, and it's funny, I thought someone maybe painted these red, but they actually came from the factory that way. So maybe you could see your saw in the bush, when it was sitting around there. Anyways, okay, there you go. Side cover. Okay, what's next on this thing? Let's get this handlebar system off. Of course, I don't have all the right tools here right now. Okay, let's see, I need a crescent wrench maybe, a 13 millimeter. Let's get this top cover off first, actually. Then I can get the throttle system off and whatnot. Oh yeah, I'd already had the starter off because I was going to show people how these starter systems work, and we'll do that later in another video. Let's put that in the box, and we'll get that up to that later. Okay, so we need a flat blade screwdriver, I think. Undo all these screws up top here. Hope everyone's having a good day. Wherever you're at. Like I said, here on the coast right now, we're getting a lot of rain, which we've needed, but it also hinders the logging, like guys were down so long this summer for heat and market conditions, and now, they just get back. And the way it works when you log in an area, if there's so many millimeters of rain per 24 hours, they will shut the logging down. Forestry, BC Forest Company will shut you down because there's just too much rain, and then there can be much flooding and wrecking the roads and stuff. So and it's unsafe. So the last few days, hopefully some guys have got some work in, but probably not after today here. Okay, there's the whole top cover. 3 screws, man. 1, 2, 3. Get the spark plug lead out of the way. Get that screw into the box here. I hope you can all see me okay. The choke rod, you got to kind of just work out of here. Okay. Put that in the box. Top cover, nothing else going to fall off. It's got the decompression valve on top on these, You used to actually kind of hold it with your right hand and then pull with your left. It worked, but it was kind of a pain in the butt. It'd be nice to have one of the automatic ones in it, And these are a little bit different. Once I get the cylinder off, I'll show you how these ones work, okay? This thing's pretty grimy. I might have to actually go off and blow it off just a little bit. Wow, look at how grimy it is. Look at that. Okay, I'm gonna go blow that off a little bit. Speaking of that, of blowing off, I just got a brand new compressor this morning. Of course, a Husky compressor at Home Depot. They were on sale, so it was like Canadian price, $449. And bought this hose, 50-foot hose. I've run it up the ceiling over that way to my workbench because I had to go buy a splitter so I can run multiple hoses of it. I have my other hose that I have on my porting bench over there, and then I can take outside to where I clean my cylinders in a solvent tank and brake clean them and blow them off there. So I had to get an adapter so I can run 2 hoses. I almost want to run 3, but I think I'm okay with the 2. I got the one there. The one there is plenty long enough to reach over to here for my other workstation. So we'll see how it goes. But I do need to go outside and blow this off right now, so give me 1 second. BRB. Be right back. And of course the compressor comes on every time you're doing a video, but that's okay. It shouldn't come on that much really. Like I could still use the air in that thing for a while now. Okay, so starter off, side cover off, top cover. So let's tackle the carburetor. You need a 10mm wrench. I made these wrenches years ago for Stihls and working on Wajax pumps, which I'll use until it's in HR carburetor, right? Sorry, HL. The most common used carburetor almost in small engines, right? So here we go. I actually take a 10mm, cheap ones. I wouldn't do this to my Snap-on. It'd void the warranty. I take cheap 10mm wrenches and I heat them up and bend them on a what? 45, 90 degree? Yeah. Okay. All right, so taking the throttle off, the best thing to do is to undo the screw right here where it's right on the carburetor. So this screw here, I'm going to undo. I do remember this from working on them. Don't lose that little screw. Okay, that little screw has got the throttle cable connected onto it with a little adapter. So I'm going to undo that. That's going to come right off the carburetor. Or it's supposed to. There you go. Okay, and you got your little throttle fixture there. Yeah, I'm going to go get a little bag so I can put this little screw in it so I don't lose it when I go to assemble it. Always nice to have little tiny bags and put things in the bags that you know you might lose, like circlips, little tiny screws. You know, it's nothing worse than putting something back together and you don't have the part. So put the little screw in there. And let's look at this now. Okay, so there's one more screw above that I just took off there. And it's to hold the bracket for the throttle. Forgot about that. It's not like I do these every day, so it's kind of hard to remember all this stuff. Wow, that screw's on there good. Nope. Let's try this. I've had this saw for a while now from Tom, but I'm getting there happening now for you, buddy. Okay, so where's that end? Over there. Wow, that thing's on there good. I gotta get a different screwdriver to get that one screw out. You try to do stuff live on the video, and you know nothing ever works out right. You always need 20,000 tools that you're not prepared for, right? But let's go here. Let's try this baby. Man, what the heck did someone do here to this thing? Okay, let's take it off the other end. Is that ain't working too well for me right now? Let's undo the throttle cable here. It's got a little like pinch bolt system. Ooh, wow. Okay, that's kind of weird. Let's go there. So you can maybe adjust it when it's wore, eh? This thing right now is a tuning screwdriver. See, sorry, I'm back and forth like crazy. I should have had this figured out a little bit more, but live is live, dead is dead. Whatever that means, eh? Okay, let's get this little holder out of here. Look at that. The Stihl tuning screwdriver. You can almost rebuild the saw with one. Take it off. Let's put that in the bag with that little screw. So these are our throttle parts, our throttle wire parts for the 090. Put it in a little bag here, because to get these pieces are hard these days. What do they call that? Like hen's teeth? All right, there we go. So that part's off. You got the switch wires built onto the back handle here. Let's take that off. So now this frame system should be able to come off, and then we'll do the carburetor, okay? So I need the crescent wrench, probably a 13 millimeter, and what's on this end? This end we got about a 10 or 12 too, where the crankcase is broken. Oh, look at that, that nut's loose. So let's get that baby off. You know, these saws, they go for a good buck, because people just all want to have a big block Stihl. To me, I don't know. They're cool because of nostalgia, or they're just a cool saw. I don't have one myself, but people like to collect them, which is fine. They do have lots of torque. They're great for milling and ripping huge logs. So let's go get a 13 millimeter now, and we'll get that top handle off, then we'll get the carburetor off, and I'm going to talk about the carburetor. Okay, so there we go, 13 mil. Yeah, I was right. Oh, geez. Of course it's rusted. It's only been on here for about 50 years, eh? Okay. That's the problem working on old saws and used saws. Like I just modified 3 saws for a fella. A 372, a 385, and 390. It was like, oh my God, it took me hours just to clean it and replace other stuff, like, you know, rebuild the carburetor, change the seals, air vacuum test it. So when if someone sends me used saws, I obviously have to charge more, man. It takes me so much time. You know, like you get a switch wire that's bare, so you got to fix that. You get a throttle cable that's, you know, a bit bare and not coming back to idle, or not giving you full throttle. So you're like, you know, you're changing that too, right? So new ones are so sweet because they're clean. They don't take that long. So just saying, not whining, maybe a little bit, but whatever. Okay, there's that off. Let's get this other nut off. I forgot to get the goddamn crescent wrench when I was over there, because someone put some goofy screw in here. That's the problem too with old ones that people have cannibalized a bit, is they have some weird stuff on them. People have put whatever on them to make them work, you know, like years ago in logging camps or anywhere really, you know, you did what you could do. You had something that would work, you changed it, right? Okay, this is being a little weird. Let's get this screw off. Let's get this one off. There we go. So that's kind of like the side of the full wrap here. That screw wouldn't turn, it's so rusted. So let's get this one off of this mount. There's actually a mount here on this side, which could probably easily be torn off if you chuck the chain a lot, but it's still okay. There we go. Come on. Come on out there. You know, that's like I just said a second ago, working on these used ones, you just never know what you encounter, man. People have done some weird stuff. It's been sitting in a barn for friggin' 30 years. You know, stuff's gonna be rusted, corroded. You gotta deal with it, right? Maybe I shouldn't have taken this on, but you know what? This fella, Tom, he's a nice fella. He's done a lot of business at our shop, which doesn't matter. Anyway, even if a nice fella comes around, I don't care. Doesn't have to do business at our shop. But I told him I'd do it, so I'm doing it. There's the handlebar frame assembly. There's the switch, the throttle, the broken crankcase part that goes to that AV mount, and that's something I'll have to address once we get her back together. This clamp in the back here. Someone put a clamp around this. I don't know why. Doesn't look. Oh, no, it doesn't look broken. Maybe they just wanted that on there for something. I don't know. Into the box. We'll figure it out later. Okay, there we go. AV mount frame assembly off. Now let's get this carburetor off. Let's get our 10 mil special wrench here and whip it off. Okay, we'll try our other one first. Wow. Okay, so these nuts on these carburetors, they're like a flange nut. They also got like a fiber washer between the nuts and the carburetor. I don't know why they did that. Maybe, I kind of think it might have been so the heat from the motor didn't get to the carburetor. The German engineers, they're pretty smart, man. You know me, I'm a big Husky guy. But you know what? I like anything that runs good. Doesn't matter what brand it is. Makita, Dalmor, Poulan, Stihl, you know, whatever is out there. Okay, so spin our nuts off. These are the original nuts for sure, because they got those fiber washers on, where a lot of times when people would work on these, me even myself, you lose those things. But I'm going to put those in that box. Gasket's just a basic Tillotson gasket. You get it with a repair kit if you get it. Okay, let's pull this sucker off. Oh, the fuel line's harder than, you know what? Okay, there we go. The old HL Tillotson carburetor. 2 jet. And see on this side, there's no jets. But these old ones had them in the back here. Low speed, high speed, and your idle. If you're ever referring to carburetors, like trying to tune a carburetor or trying to identify a carburetor where the low speed and high speed is, just remember the low speed's always the one closest to the engine. Okay? And the high speed's the farthest one. And think about it. Low speed first, idle first, low speed first, then high speed. So just remember that. Every time, you know, if you're ever trying to tune a saw, you're gonna work with the idle and the low speed first. Okay, now I got a very dirty saw here. We got a fuel line that's totally crap. Wow, the inner one's still pliable. Here's that old system fuel filter that still used to have with a weighted fuel filter, so it kind of dangled around. Funny. So anyways, we'll put that in there. We'll be replacing some parts on that when we do it. Here was the linkage here to the choke system. That the way these are governed, it's called a governor vane off the flywheel. So as the flywheel goes around, it pulls the choke on when they hit in a high RPM, so you don't over rev it. You can change that RPM by a spring tension in there, and I'll show you that once we get into that later on, okay? This isn't gonna fall off because it's connected with a loop there, and this loop here goes to the choke. So there we go. There's the ground for the switch, switch wire, high lead wire. Okay, I guess the next step really is we should be taking the clutch off, because I might need to use a piston stop to get the clutch off and the flywheel. So let's first actually take the muffler off. Again, 10 millimeter wrench and a flat blade screwdriver. Flat blade screwdriver takes the bottom bolt off onto the corner of the exhaust there. I don't know why I'm going step by step and telling you guys, you know, it's nuts and bolts. Everyone knows how to take nuts and bolts off, but you know what? Maybe some people don't. So let's just deal with it, right? Okay, our custom wrench again, but I'll first try to break them with my standard one. Good old Snap-on. Some people hate Snap-on because of the price, but you know what I'm telling you, man. They're the best tools going. Bars none. You never have to buy another one again. After you buy one for a huge amount of money, but it's worth it to me. Can't stand cheap tools. They're strip. They don't fit right. You know, you can't beat it. I'm really surprised in 090s that I never seen a lot of guys in logger sports here up in Canada run Stihls. Stihls were never really promoted as well, or I don't know, just people didn't get them out there and modify them as much as Husqvarnas. You know, I don't know if it's because of my dad and Peter Holmquist with Husqvarna years ago, or it was just the fact that no one was really interested in doing it. But I believe a person can build one of these 090s into a wicked friggin' racing saw. You know, what are they again? What was my sheets I showed you the other day? Remember I told you guys the specs about these things? Yeah, they're 137 cc's. Like, come on, man. That's a thumper, man. That's a big block. That's the biggest block saw they make. Because what is 3120? 119? Yeah, something like that. Tedious work. Tedious work. Let's get this one off. I can use 2 wrenches at a time. I'm going to move this one as I take that one. You guys don't want to watch me for hours, but I don't care if you want to. Okay, get that side off. These are cool mufflers. They never blew apart. They're like a die-cast aluminum, right? Oh, look at that. I think I said aluminum. Oh, maybe not. Right tonight. Maybe not. Someone commented that to me a while ago where I said I can't say aluminum. Aluminium. But someone commented, yeah, it sounded okay, Donnie. But whatever. Got the bottom bolt off that thing. Top bolt. I'm interested in what this cylinder and piston looks like, and we're going to get this off real soon here, guys. Okay? I'm going to take the flywheel nut and clutch notch off before I... Actually, I don't need to do that. I'm going to pull the cylinder off before I take that stuff off. So you don't need like to use the piston stuff to get the clutch off these things. Very I think they're keyed. I'm not sure. I can't remember, man. Are they? You can comment if you want. Wow. I'm not getting the nut off. I'm having to take the whole stud off, so that's what's taking me a while, eh? You know? That's the thing, eh? You can never... That's the problem with used saws and old saws. They take forever, man. Sorry, Tom, I didn't mean to beat your saw. I just wanted to break that loose. Okay. Put that over there. God, am I going to have enough room to take this off? Hopefully. This stud's long. Might need to take this handlebar bolt out to get it out. Come on, slow. Like the Pony Express. Oh, there we go. Breaking loose. Breaking loose like Breaking Bad. Walter White. Come on. You know what though? I don't think I'm gonna get off. Come on. Because oh, there we go. Okay. So the stud, what I'll have to do is when I put it back together is I'll Loctite that and thread it in first, then put the nuts on, of course. Come on, sucker. But yeah, these would never like wear out. You know, it's die-cast aluminum muffler. You got a lot of CCs coming through that, a lot of volume, right? So a muffler mod on these wouldn't have made that much difference, really. You know, everyone thinks muffler mods are the coolest things and the best thing to do with a saw. Where they are with a lot of new ones, but older ones, they're pretty open. You look at that, you can see up to the port, so the exhaust went down and then out through this beautiful system here. Is this here kind of a screen thing, not a screen but deflector, so it went over that way so it didn't get in your way. So that, nothing wrong with that. In the box. Okay, let's look at the piston. Wow, looks perfect. Okay, let's get the jug and slug off tonight. What do you think these bolts are? I think they're 6 millimeter or 5 millimeter. I got this really nice set here from Echo. Super cool, where you can, it's got almost every Torx, every Allen wrench, and flat blade, Robinson, everything in it. It's really cool. So we'll get this. What the heck here? Wow, so much stuff in this thing. Just a nice set. Oh, that ain't gonna work. I have to go get something else. But yeah, see, all this set. It's made by Fellow Pro Quality something. Nice stuff. Okay, so I need a 6 mil long socket Allen and a ratchet, and I'll go get that, and I'll be BYB. Wednesday night, okay, hump night of the week for us employee workers, or just another day for an independent. Okay, let's get that in there. Let's see if that fits. You can't quite clean the holes out in the heads of the screws. Pound that socket in there. Hopefully it'll go. That didn't quite go. Try that out. Oh yeah. Okay. Next one, right by our decomp valve. Come on, baby. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Always just crack them a little bit first. I never take one out at a time because then it puts pressure on the other ones. Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow. Just looking actually now, I totally forgot. This spark plug in this thing looks like an original Bosch spark plug. Probably from the Stihl factory. Okay, that's cool. They all came loose. Now, why would I do that manually? Let me whip over and grab my impact that I should have had there already. But the live video, of course, I've told you before, that's what happens. Where the heck is it? Okay. That's weird. Where's my impact? Where's the impact? Okay. Somehow it's gone AWOL. Okay, let's just grab the old Makita. I love my Snap-on one. It's so much faster and so nicer, but Makita one works fine too. That sounded like they all came off. Let's pull her off. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. That's a huge piston, eh? Look at that thing. Just massive. It's got a bunch of intake wear. No exhaust scoring, which is nice. So the intake wear is either from bad filtration or a little edge. From what I'm seeing, where I see the scoring on the intake, which is not intake bad filtration wear. It's bad chroming. I can see right here on the cylinder, there's a little flake or a little spot there of chrome where it started to score the piston and it's continued. So darn good thing we took this apart, and we can figure out, I can grind it to make it better. Oh, geez, one bolt just fell off. I shouldn't have got that far. Let's get the cylinder turned over and find all the bolts and washers for it so I don't misplace any of them. Because I don't have these in my inventory. Okay. How many bolts on a cylinder? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 mil with the washers. Into the box. Okay, so look at these things. These are bizarre. Like, you think about these, the way this thing's ported. Let me see if I can like prop this up and show you. This is just a huge slug. It's like a small Chevy 350 piston. Okay. So there's the piston. Can you see the transfer ports there? Okay, on the sides, right? On the sides here, right? Okay. Now, once I get you back here. Check this out. The cylinder doesn't match up to the transfer ports at all. Very detuned old engine. So if a guy was going to mod one of these, I'd be modding these transfer ports right here. I'd be taking the material out here and case matching these ports. So there's a good trick if you're building a racing saw on one of these, you want a high performance one. You know? Not that we're going to do that to this. We're just going to put it back together stock. But very interesting, because I really haven't looked at these much before. Another interesting thing I just noticed is this connecting rod is actually like a McCullough. It comes apart, so you could actually replace the connecting rod on these. That's kind of cool. I never knew that, because I never had one this far apart. So there you go. This piston can be cleaned up. I can clean this up to work right. And I can fix that cylinder by porting it slightly and just cleaning up the edges. Rest of the chrome looks fine. Yeah, so see how it goes. Look at the combustion chamber on these. You see they're kind of a half combustion chamber and half flat. Kind of interesting, eh? So yeah, they're quite detuned, and you know, for a reason. They have high torque, and they're made for big long bars and big old wood. If you made it too much of a performance saw, with the type of carburetor and carburetor adjustments it had on it, guys would probably blow them up. But I believe you can really make a performance saw out of these if a person actually took and probably cut the head off, put a split head on it, and changed the combustion chamber. But I got enough to do. I ain't doing that. So here we go. There's the saw stripped down with the head off, cleaned up, the old HL carburetor off it, HL244A. So simple, these carburetors. If they don't work, then you don't know how to rebuild them, because they all work if you do it right. I've never had one of these really ever fail. Like, they're just simple. Okay, there's no like check valves or anything in it. It's all just straight up stuff. Okay. So part 3 next. I think what we'll do is we'll get this piston off, the clutch off, the ignition off, the flywheel and the ignition, and we'll just see if this thing has points of condenser or it has electronic ignition, like I showed you that it said on the one sheet that the AV ones have. I don't believe that. I'm sure I've seen these with points. So they might have done a production run halfway through a year or something where they changed to electronic ignition versus points and condenser. But we'll see how that goes. There's lots of stuff I see here right now by visually looking that needs to be addressed. So we'll see how that goes. No, they're not going to see how it goes. We're just going to do it, right? Whew. What a machine. These are so cool. So this compressor release, yeah, I was going to show you that. You look it up in the head here. You know, as you push that button down, it pushes that compression release right there open. So right by that top ring, top of the piston, it's giving it a compression release. So there's power Rob too. If I was to modify this saw, making it a racing saw, I'd obviously be porting the cylinder and getting rid of that too. But I'm not doing that. I'm not building no 090 racing saw. Got enough on the go. So anyways, that's part 2 of the 090 strip down. And there's a lot more work to do. So hey, wow. It's even got thrust washers on top of the piston. And what I mean there, almost all new saws, except for some little Echoes, have thrust washers between the rod and the piston wrist pin, kind of whatever you call that, part of the piston. But yeah, unusual. There we go. Just cool old saws, eh? I talked to a lot of the old-time followers around the coast here that ran these years ago. They're like, oh my God, Donnie, if I could get it up to the wood, the things worked great. But that was the problem. They were heavy and they had long bars on them. You know, it's funny how a lot of people say they need huge long bars to cut down big trees. Well, that really isn't the true fact. You know, like a lot of my really good West Coast followers here that are good friends of mine, and they're very experienced, either older guys or you know, mid-age guys. They know the techniques. They can take, you know, a 10-12 foot tree down, a cedar or a spruce. You know, firs don't get quite that big. If you do, well, that's a bonus. But they can normally do it with a 36-inch bar or 33-inch bar. It's all in the technique how you do it. You know, I watch lots of videos of different people, of course, because I do them as well. But a lot of my really experienced guys are like, oh my God, you don't need to be running a six foot bar or 5 foot bar. You just got to know how to do it. And they're totally right. And today these saws are light and fast. 3/8 chain where guys are grinding them and sharpening them decent. You know, you can get a lot of big stuff down where you don't need these big old torquers anymore, you know. Guys just in those days didn't know how to file. The chains weren't very good. So, you know, you needed that long bar and big torque saws to be able to take big wood down, right? But yeah, I got a friend of mine, Esco. I'm hoping that he comes around or watches my video here because I lost his phone number. And Esco's an old West Coast follower here. He's originally from Quebec area. And he needed a few used parts for a 395. So Esco, if you're watching me tonight, give me a call, buddy. I lost your number. And I want to get him in here and have a little one-on-one talk with him as an old-time logger. Because he used these in his early days. And then he had a few incidents falling that got hurt, but he's still going around, and we'll see if he can come around and have a little one-on-one talk. We'll have a little one-on-one talk with an old-time logger, and he'll tell you a lot of old stories, and I hope, and we can talk about all these old saws with him. I never ran them. I just fixed them. So it'd be nice to talk to someone that actually ran these, used them, know what they're talking about, right? You know, if everyone's like, oh yeah, my grandpa used it, don't I know this, don't I know, I used it for milling. Yeah, well, let's talk to a real follower that actually used them in the bush and see how it went, eh? Anyways, Shelly's out tonight with a old friend, going out for dinner. I already prepped some dinner tonight for myself. I got a nice sirloin steak that I've tenderized sitting in the fridge. And I have a nice baked potato, a steak tonight, some salad. And come back down here and sort out some more stuff. I've been really trying to get better organized. And my goal is tonight to sort out some more 372 stuff, 371, and categorize it all and put it all in its place so I know where everything is. There's nothing worse than a big box of parts. You don't know where anything is, and you got to sort through to find even a screw. So yeah, back here I got a nice screw thing I'm doing that my friend Dave helped me with, and I'm just going to go from there. Anyways, that's part 2 for the Oh I Know done. I shouldn't have kept blabbing about other things, but we'll get to part 3 later when we take the clutch and the flywheel off. Then we'll figure out how to separate the gas tank from the crankcase and take the rest of it apart. Then we'll split that case, get the new case together that I have here, and figure it out. Hopefully I can get it back to the fellow for a good surprise for Christmas. Best I can do. Hard to get parts for these, but there is sources out there, so you can get them from different countries. So see how it goes. Keep a saw on the wood, stick in the ice, rubbing the road. Stay dry. Monsoons are still happening out there. Have a good night. Donnie Walker out.